Now, I was very lucky. After many years in Israel, I came back to the States. I was brought back to do a musical on Broadway. And since then, I've been doing a lot of Broadway musicals. And the first one that I did when I came back was a musical called Barnum. It was a great musical about the greatest showman who ever lived. His name was Phineas Taylor Barnum, or P.T. Barnum, the Prince of Humbug. He could sell anything to anyone. And I want you to know that the organizers of this evening tonight, folks, spared no expense. When they heard that I was coming, they said, why don't you bring some of your co-stars with you so you can do something from Barnum? I said, well, okay, why not? So I called Glenn Close. She played Mrs. Barnum in this show. And I said, Glenn, listen, I'm going to Adat Yeshurun in Minneapolis. Why don't you come along and we'll sing a couple of the songs from Barnum? You know what she said to me? Bist mir schicke geworden. It's an old Irish expression. It means I'm too busy making $16 million on a movie. I can't go to Minneapolis. So, ladies and gentlemen, who needs her? Right? I'm going to do it all by myself. Save Ron Newsom a couple of bucks, too, that way. So here we are. We're going to do this. And just imagine you're not sitting here in this beautiful auditorium. You're sitting at the St. James Theater on Broadway, and the show is about to begin. Barnum's the name. P.T. Barnum, the Prince of Humbug. And whether you think my humbug's a blessing or a curse, you're still gonna buy it. Why? Because every 60 seconds in this world, a delightful phenomenon takes place which absolutely guarantees it. There is a sucker born every minute. Each time that second hand sweeps to the top like dandelions, up they pop, their ears so big, their eyes so wide, and though I feed them bona fide baloney with no truth in it, why, you can bet I'll find some rube to buy my corn, 'cause there's a sure shooting sucker born a minute, and I'm referring to the minute you was born. Each blessed hour brings 60 of them. Each time that wooden cuckoo shows his face, another sucker takes his place, flunks his quarter on the line to buy my brand of genuine malarkey. God bless and love him, but don't feel sad or hopping mad or cause a scene, 'cause there's a sure as shooting sucker born a minute, but ma'am, you might have been the minute in between. If I allow that right here in my hands, the smallest living human man, the sight of that is surely worth a dime. If I present an educated pooch who's trained to dance the hoochie cooch, what better way to waste a bit of time? If I import at monumental cost a lady fair whose head was lost crossing railroad tracks to pick some zinnias, who eats farina through a hose and wears pink tights instead of clothes, if that ain't worth a buck, my name ain't Phineas. Ah, you say that's hogwash. Well, who cares? You'll buy my hogwash long as there's a sucker born every minute. Each time that second hand sweeps to the top like dandelions, up they pop, their ears so big, their eyes so wide, and though my tail is bona fide baloney, just let me spin it. There ain't no man who can resist me, wait and see, 'cause there's a sure as shooting sucker born a minute. And friends, the biggest one, excluding none, is me. Then there was a beautiful love song between Mr. and Mrs. Barnum. The colors of my life are bountiful and bold. The purple glow of indigo, the gleam of green and gold, the splendor of a sunrise, the dazzle of a flame, the glory of a rainbow. I'd put them all to shame. No quiet browns and grays, I'll take my days instead and fill them till they overflow with rose and cherry red. And should this sunlit world grow dark one day, the colors of my life will leave a shining light to show the way. Oh boy. What do you say to this orchestra? Aren't they fabulous? Stand up. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And these are guys from here, you know. We didn't bring them with us, from Minneapolis, so. And I'd like to introduce to you my musical director. We've been working together for many, many years. At the piano, Grant Sturriale. Grant. And Grant and I started working together actually 10 years ago on this next musical that I'd like to sing you a few songs from. And I was very proud to do this musical. It was a revival of a great show called The Rothschilds. The Rothschilds is about that great... We got 3 guys who saw the show over there. Let's not exaggerate. The Rothschilds was originally done with Hal Linden on Broadway in 1970. We did a revival in New York, and it was really a wonderful show, written by the same people who wrote Fiddler on the Roof. Fiddler on the Roof is about a very poor man who had 5 daughters and no money. This is about a very rich man who had 5 sons and a lot of money. But unfortunately, he lived in a time where there was a lot of oppression and discrimination against the Jewish people. He lived in a ghetto in Frankfurt. And every night, despite the fact that he was one of the richest men in Europe, he would be locked into his ghetto. And his sons, finally, when he was an older man, said, "Papa, isn't it time you left the ghetto?" And Meyer Rothschild said, "I will leave the ghetto when there is no more ghetto." He didn't live to see it, but his sons broke down those walls of the ghetto and did a great thing for the Jewish people. And at the same time, they made a little money on the side. But it was a great show, and I was very proud to portray this man, Meyer Amschel Rothschild. And the most important thing in his life, aside from the money, was his love for his sons.